mobility session with me, and I've been doing it on Mondays now, so we can call it Movement Mondays. Again, here to bring you conceptual mobility exercises and concepts, things to think about, things to know and be aware of when we're trying to move our body or optimize our movement. And especially in a world where we live with so much tension, stiffness, and all that, people tend to get a little overly lost in how to find this relaxed state. We overly release muscles, we go to chiropractors too much, no offense to anybody that's needs the business, but when somebody's overly just getting something adjusted, you're not really fixing it at all. Similarly with a lot of heavy manual releasing, I mean, I of course go see a massage therapist once in a while, but if you are constantly releasing that neck and it's constantly tightening up, I think we're not addressing the issue properly. And that's part of what I'm here to do in today's session, which is do a lot of conceptual stuff and teach you what it is that's causing this whole section up here to just get so locked up habitually. Yeah, so getting neck adjustments all the time, to be honest, I'm not solving your issues. Getting neck releases all the time, to be honest, probably not going to solve your issues. And similarly with stretching, and that's why we're going to go through some stretches, but again, it's all going to be so conceptual to helping your movement, being healthy. And I talked about this a lot, so if you followed along, you'll be getting along with the theme of what I believe in, but I talk about this a lot. And that is that, yeah, we don't want to overly release muscles, as is we want to find our way to improve our function, find what's weak and get a little bit more integration. Usually when things tighten up, there's a lack of security going on, be it something neurologically comforting, some kind of sort of tension that you're holding on, where maybe that's a breathing issue. Sometimes it's an imbalance of muscles, and that's why it's not good to necessarily just release muscles all the time. And that's what I feel like a lot of people do, looking for answers. Oh, my neck's tight, I just gotta release it. And well, let's talk about what is causing it to be so tight. So yeah, that's basically, if you've tuned in previous sessions, it's something that I tend to talk a lot about. Not to say that we aren't going to do some stretching, not to say that we aren't going to do some muscle releasing. It's just there's going to be a lot more things to piece together, and especially the releasing is not going to be the first thing we do, and the stretching is definitely not going to be the first thing that we're doing. So these are some things to just keep in mind, and especially when we are preparing ourselves for our workout. Usually, we come in feeling stiff. Now, everybody has a different way of getting into their workout, and that's my biggest pet peeve, because we tend to not treat our body in the way it should be treated going into a workout. You want to build yourself up and have a great workout, build good muscle memory, and walk out feeling great. The muscle breakdown, the fat burning, that should all really come later and secondary to you building your system up. It's a fortress. That's what the workouts are there for. And so therefore, when we get into our work and prepping ourselves, it's important how we do that. We do want to loosen our body up. We do want to move freely and not be stiff. We don't want to rely on warming up through our workout to not get stiff. So we definitely, yeah, we want to address our mobility first. But it's not necessarily good to just passively stretch our muscles, thinking that that's going to actively help them in what they're about to do with your body through three-dimensional space, against physics, laws of gravity, momentum, all that fun stuff that you're going to have to be good at. Whether you're going through life, sports, or your workout, or just, like I said, work life in general. Just waking up out of the bed, getting up into the office, going through your workout, just getting through the daily tasks. You must be prepared for movement. That's what we're here to talk about, like I said. So, first things first, like I said, there's different things we can address with the neck. We're going to address some releasing. We're going to address some movement. We're going to even do some stretching. But we're also going to talk a lot about conceptual stuff, of what is causing everything to be so blocked up in this section. I mentioned breathing, which is probably, I think, one of the biggest things you want to address when we have neck tension. Ultimately, breathing affects a lot of other things in our system. It will help a lot of other things, but if I say if you got a lot of neck tension, number one would be breathing. However, before we even get into that, I want to take it a further step. We'll take it a further step out, looking at the body. Superficially, another thing that's going on around here. So we got breathing and we've got inhalation accessory muscles around here. So that's what I said. If you're not breathing well, your accessory muscles are going to be working overtime and trying to get air in because we have poor diaphragm usage. So that's going to cause a lot of tightness. Then we also have a lot of lymph nodes around the neck. What are lymph nodes? So lymph nodes are sort of these pumps which collect waste, toxins, inflammation, whatever you want to call it, white blood cells, all that kind of bad stuff. We carry inflammation throughout our body habitually, just because we're always fighting off different things, and it comes down to the food we eat, lifestyles, environment we live in. And some people carry a lot more inflammation than others, and then the bodies aren't able to process it as well, especially again if your lifestyle is not up to par. Then sometimes these lymph nodes, these pumps, need a little bit of help because they just get a little bit of blocked and stagnant. And then sometimes the blood moving that we create for exercise can sometimes be too much that actually hinders the lymph from flushing. So before we do anything, while we clear up our lymph nodes just a little bit, because that might already help our neck move better. So thank you for tuning in and listening to all that rambling, but if you're lost with neck tension and you need help, you needed to hear all of what I just said to kind of get your idea of what it is you need to do to help you. So number one, we're going to help with the flushing. So we have lymph nodes all around our neck. We have these big lymph nodes right by our clavicles right here. So the first thing we're going to do, because we don't want too much pressure, we just want skin vibration, is we're going to just tap on our collarbone about 10 times, nice and lightly, tap it 10 times the other side, because like I said, you're trying to vibrate the skin. So alternatively, you could rub your skin like that, very lightly. We are not pushing hard. There is no such thing as pushing swelling like that. That is not how you get rid of swelling. It's very light. You want to rub the skin and move the skin so that the most superficial layer where all this inflammation collects can freely be pushed to the lymph nodes. So we'll go one more time, just for good measure. Remember, nice and lightly, because that helps everything to sort of vibrate around and start the flushing process. Okay, we're gonna go around the head down to the back. So what you're gonna do now is, whether you want to scratch, you can just scratch, or you can slightly pull your hair. We're going to start by the temple. Huge area right here. Whether you're even stretching the muscle or putting pressure on the muscle temporalis, or we're doing as so is helping the lymph flush. This area just so much tension from stress, and that's going to resonate down to your neck. So just lightly pull your hair, and we're going to move around to the sides of your head, and then round to the back, and you're just pulling the hair, and then we're going to move down to the back of the neck, and just give yourself a nice neck rub. It's a nice neck rub, and that should already help a little bit clearing up your sort of sinuses, because we've just gotten all this flushing going. Okay. Now, since we're back here, what I want you to do is take your two thumbs and locate those two most dense parts behind your neck, just like right there. Okay? Can't really miss it, they're just two chunky bits. You're gonna put slight pressure right there, slight pressure. Then what I want you to do with your eyes, keeping your nose pointed dead straight, you're gonna take your eyes and look side to side. And we're gonna do that 4 times, looking just side to side, and hopefully you should be able to feel the movements in the back of your neck through your thumbs, because these are some of the neck muscles connected deep inside there to your eyes. So just moving your eyes side to side. That's already really good, because we're already disassociating our eye movements from our head. we tend to get so locked up, especially looking at phones, looking at screens, that when we look at anything, we turn our head. That's a very stiff movement, where we want to be able to reciprocate movements all throughout our body, and that includes eyes being able to glance peripherally, which we don't do much, both ways, or if anything, we tend to be a little bit more locked up to the right. And like I said, just disassociating eye movements from neck and neck movements from the thorax, which we'll get into later. All huge things. We want this to move independently, which it will. There's a lot of pieces here that are all able to move together. So movement will be there. It's just we have to address all these things. So number one was the lymph and swelling. Number two is now going to be some breathing. Even though we did some eye stuff there, we're going to now go into the biggest thing right now is breathing. So I'm going to go into a fundamental exercise because I call this the greatest breathing exercise there is. It's not something I invented, but it is such a great exercise. If you've tuned in before, you've seen it before. So again, this is the theme. If I'm redoing exercises because they're so good, and again, just try to nail down all the things we're going through and just apply them. With this one right now, what the lower half of the body is doing is just grounding yourselves with a bit of hamstrings, as you'll see as I get into the position. So that's the only part of you that's kind of working, is the hamstrings. The upper half, we're going to worry about exhaling and dropping our rib cage down. Hugely important. And what I want everything to feel is to drop down. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do this on a chair, but I would hope that you guys do this against the wall. Meaning you just go up to a wall and you put your feet up on the wall. It's a much better way to do this, but let's just say you don't even have a wall. Sure, you can lie like this and hook your feet up. Please, if you have a foam roller or a yoga block or a bunch of towels, grab that now, because it would actually help to have something squeezed between your knees, only because that helps activate our inner thighs as well, also just giving you a little bit of pelvic support. So 90-degree position, okay, hooking your feet up. Now normally you would put your feet up against the wall and there would be just nothing underneath you. You'd just be up against the wall and lie flat, yoga block between the feet, and you're gonna hook up. But because I don't have a wall space to really demonstrate for you adequately, I'm going to use a chair. And this is obviously, if you don't have a wall space, the other way to do it. Just hook your feet up in the chair so that we have a bit of hamstrings. It's just better to be on a flat surface. The more your feet can be grounded, the better. But we'll talk about that on a different day. Okay, so like I said, let's put hands on the rib cage. Okay, take a big breath of air in through our nose. We're going to sigh, because I want you to open your mouth. Something we need to do is really open wide. And you feel everything drop this way. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to lift and peel, adjust our tailbone off the floor. So just your tailbone off the floor. So we're not up. No. We do not want to be extended like that. You're working way too hard. Just your tailbone, it should be off the floor. So now we got a little bit of hamstrings working. Good. And then squeezing the yoga block or towels or roller. Okay, hands on the ribs. Take a big breath of air in. Exhale, sigh. Make sure you get rid of everything in your lungs and hold it before you breathe in. Make sure you really fill it up. Exhale, sigh. Make sure it drops. Relax for a second. Good. So that was about three or so breaths. Okay. I just realized what's off the angle. Cool. All right. So now we got a little bonus thing for you. So now, because if you tuned in, a little bonus activity. This is really going to help you with your breathing. So especially if, like I said, you got chronic neck, you need to breathe better. In fact, you need less stressful, more open breathing. Okay. So this is what I want you to do, okay? You're gonna relax your hands. Again, peel your tailbone off the floor. You're gonna take your right, and you're gonna hold your right nostril, hold it and plug it in. I'm gonna take breaths with just our left nostril. We'll go 3 deep breaths with our left nostril. Exhale through your mouth. What is that gonna do? That is gonna stimulate more calm side breathing, because we're not really balanced, and we're very dominant to one side. We're very shifted to one side posturally, whether it's neurological function. So even our breathing tends to be one-sided. So now we're going to actually get more open breaths on the other side, and that's going to give you a better mixture of breathing throughout our both sides, because we naturally breathe better with our right nostril. So right here, and I want you to reach with your right hand too, because that's going to facilitate opening up this right side a little more, get a little bit more air in, and get a little bit more circulation throughout your body. So plug your right nostril with your thumb and breathe in. Oh, remember to lift your tailbone and breathe in. Keep inhaling. Fill those last bits. Exhale, sigh. Make sure you drop those ribs all the way at the bottom. Big inhale. It should feel slightly longer even. Your ability to breathe in. Exhale, sigh. And we'll do one more. Remember, left nostril breathing only, just for one more. Fill it up all the way. Exhale, sigh. Good. Now take your hand away, relax your hips. Just stay there, nice and relaxed, and just take a few deep breaths. And don't you feel how much fuller that is? It's just so much fuller. It feels like you've got more mixture of air coming in both your nostrils. So you might ask, well, we're going to do the other side, and actually part of some of yoga, Ashtanga yoga, I think they reciprocate and do both sides. That's fine if you want to do that. For this, I've just done one, because we are habitually more breathing throughout our right nostril than our left. And that's a little bit more linked to our sort of, what you call sympathetic state, our stress state that we're constantly in. We're not in our parasympathetic state, which is our relaxed state enough. We do go back and forth, but the tendency is that we're way too in our stress states. And that's what ultimately why I would say plug up your right nostril only and just take a few deep breaths, about 5, through your left. Take away your plug, and then you'll feel already that you're getting fuller breaths. And then go into breathing maybe, because then you already feel like, oh, now I'm opened up more and getting more use of the breathing. Because the more circulation you get, the more the muscles and everything will relax, including especially your neck. So now, on to the next part, which is another breathing exercise, but this time we're going to focus a little bit more on the inhalation. That last one, the key there was exhalation, drop your ribs. And this time we're going to be already in a position where your ribs are dropped. But the goal is to fill and really fill the upper chambers. And this time actually fill the upper posterior chamber. I've talked about this before. It's because we have a lot of empty space back there that we don't use and expand into. So we're going to be on our hands and knees position, okay? Make sure you're tucking your chin throughout. So now we're out of this sort of neck extension that we tend to be really locked in, okay? Tuck your chin on your hands and knees, around your back up as much as possible into this cat position, okay? And you're going to stay right there. So as you can see, the ribs are dropped. They're already in their lowest position. So when you exhale, you'll really feel those abs work because they're already in their max engaged position. As you stay there and inhale, you're going to breathe in, and eventually as you push yourself, really lock out and stretch this upper area, you'll feel it stretch as you breathe in. That's what we want. Biggest inhale possible, stretching into the upper back. Exhale, sigh, good crunch right here. We're gonna go 5 breaths, okay? Right here, lock up, tuck that chin, and even give yourself a little tailbone tuck for good measure, just to round yourself up, okay? Big inhale, feel that upper back stretch, big exhale, sigh. Keep going, get rid of everything. Make sure you're locked out as much as possible. Big inhale, big exhale. Get rid of everything, biggest exhale possible. Biggest inhale possible. Feel that upper back stretch. Exhale, sigh. Biggest exhale possible. Get rid of everything in your lungs. Hold. Biggest inhale. And last exhale. Very good. Today I'm having myself, or I'm telling you guys, people to exhale with a sigh, just to give you that open jaw. Why? Because when we have a lot of tension up here, what tends to go hand in hand with that is jaw tension. And when we have jaw tension, usually we tend to grasp onto that for stability, and that will just make your neck worse. So get into a habit of being able to open your mouth for exhalations, but don't be in so much of a habit to inhale that way, because unfortunately oral breathing promotes a lot of stress responses as well. So we want to make sure we're breathing through our nose as much as possible, but breathe out through your mouth. And if you're feeling that you're having some tension in jaw, a nice exhale sigh to just really open that up. Okay, we're getting through it. Now actually we've got some breathing going. We've gotten through our got through our lymphatic flushing. Okay, we already got a little eye movements going. We've got 2 key breathing exercises, so hopefully really get you better control of the thorax in terms of exhalation and inhalation, filling up these areas. That should already maybe just move the neck around a little bit. Just give it a little quick range of motion check. Look from side to side, tilt, up and back. And hopefully that's already feeling a little bit more open. And we haven't actually even released anything. I'm going to go quickly over the releasing parts, just because it's just good to know. But as you can see, it's not even the first thing that I've done. I didn't list off props because I don't tend to announce the classes these days. I'll just post them and then people can watch them whenever they want. But if you have a hard ball, lacrosse ball, you should get it, because we're going to just really release just one area, the traps. Just the traps right here, because they tend to be a little, at the end of the day, for some people, they harbor a lot of chronic tension. There tends to be some muscle density even from people just being so shrugged up. So as much as we want to tackle the neck problems with functionality, addressing breathing, addressing the lymph inflammation, addressing posture symmetry like rotational problems, maybe a little, there's not so much strengthening going, it's usually more rotational postural issues. But at the end of the day, we could also definitely do with a little bit of release, especially of the trap muscles, because they are so big and really clamp the whole head down, especially if there's a lot of tension. We did a little bit of the back of the neck, and you can release the back of the neck with the ball too. That's pretty self-explanatory. You could lie down on the floor or just lean up against the wall. I'm not going to do that today, but for the trap, okay, you're going to be in a lunge position, all right? And you just need to find anywhere where there's a little bit of corner. That's to be honest what works best for me. Find a corner, a pole, bookcase, anything, okay? You're gonna stand with that same side leg forward, take the ball and you're gonna put it right on the belly of the trap with the opposite hand. That arm is just gonna hang, okay? Find your corner and you're basically in a sort of lunge position. You're gonna wedge that ball into the trap where your head can go into the side of the corner, and that corner pins the ball into the trap. So just like this, same side leg, right? I put it there, I lean, and then I just sort of wedge. Just get this chair in the way. Okay. And like here, lean, pin. Make sure this arm, hang in, relax, okay? And then you can take this arm away if you want. Just relax it on your hip, or just keep it there, keep it rested on your shoulder, whatever. Just gonna sort of rest and relax into it, okay? Not too much there. Maybe you can wiggle it around a little bit, do some circles to sort of knead it in. I'm sort of going around a little bit, circles, okay? Go to the other side, pin it, find the corner, lunge on that leg, tip your head, and sort of just push, rest that arm, rest this arm wherever you want. I feel it's more comfortable to just rest it right here. You're looking about 10 seconds minimum, 30 seconds is probably optimal. After that, just move on, release other areas, stretch, move, or do whatever, you know, going through today. But again, more is not necessarily better. A good 30 seconds and then move on. Like I said, people tend to obsess about releasing, and they just think, well, if I just do more and more, or if I get the hammer machine and I start hammering my neck, like that's gonna really, you know, solve your problems. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just you're chasing a ghost there. Okay, so that was just a basic little trap release. Some people might have really needed that, but you know, like I said, there's lots of things that we want to consider, and I usually tend to go to that later on after we've addressed breathing and lymph. But now on to some movement. So this is really important to move the neck throughout its healthy range. So number one, I like to sit down for this, it doesn't really matter. We're gonna do a neck circle, but I really want to go through the whole range nice and slow. Let's cross our arms here just to sort of keep this nice up and nice and straight. Okay, we're gonna go big circle, nice and slow one way, and a big circle, nice and slow the other way. We're gonna take our time with this, really slow. So number one, we get chin to chest as much as we can. Number two, let's scratch my nose. Get your chin to your collarbone. Good. Number three, get your ear to your shoulder. Now, complete your semicircle by drawing the biggest circle with your chin as you can. Draw the line with your chin till you get your shoulder to your ear. Drop those shoulders, make sure you're not shrugging them. Get your chin to your collarbone. And then chin to chest, reverse. So chin back to that same collarbone. Shoulder to your ear. Now take your chin and draw the biggest semicircle or rainbow you can. Check those shoulders, pull them down. Get your ear to your shoulder, chin to collarbone, back to the center. One rep one way, one rep the other way. I would rather just go super slow. Just take your time with it. Take yourself through the range, okay? All right, so that was a circle. Pretty self-explanatory, but now let's go through a little bit more of a dynamic neck movement. A figure eight, or a sideways figure eight, infinity sign, which we're going to start small, but as you go through them, you're going to go through the range. And this is where you get to go through those extreme ranges of really sort of lifting your chin up, ear back, lifting chin up, and that's where you might get those little extra pops at the back of the ear sort of there. But these are similar to what a chiropractor would do when they crank your neck. It's just what we're doing here is taking our time and doing it ourselves. So remember, figure eight sideways, infinity sign. Yeah, I'll answer the side of this one or wherever. Okay, so I'm going to start by going down, twist, across, twist, down, across, twist, cross to the other side, twist. just kind of go with it smoothly. All right, we're gonna go, let's just get a few reps. Now let's sort of tweak it up and make it a little more interesting. Now, we're gonna keep our eyes looking forward, which is hard, but now we're doing a little bit more head and eye disassociation, which is really important. So, because now what I even just felt is I just felt my eyes sort of going over my head, and that's okay, but let's spice it a little bit. So, like a little diamond with your hands, and you're gonna stare through the diamond, okay? So you're going through that same figure eight motion, but now you're gonna keep your eyes forward. It's gonna be a little tough, a little coordinating, require a little bit of coordination, but you know, again, good, healthy neck movements with disassociation from the eyes, looking through our peripherals, very, very important for us to be able to do. Okay, so throw up the rock, look through your diamond, and down, lift your chin up. We'll get a nice little pop there. Down, lift your chin up, across, down, chin up, across, down, chin up, across and down, chin up, across and down, chin up, across and down, chin up. Good. And now you notice on some of my my right to left across, I was really bad with my eyes going across smoothly, and that was something through my reps I was able to sort of smooth out a little bit. There we go. That's actually an important thing. So that's my eyes going to the left, lacking some sort of smoothness, especially when my head's going to the right. And that's actually really important. We want to be able to move our heads to the right and then see that way. What we tend to do, again, is be so locked up, and that's why we wonder why we're stiff. We don't have enough of this swivel action, which our body was naturally meant to do. Naturally, we're meant to have pelvis rotate one way, thorax go the other way, head go the other way, and then reciprocate back and forth. So, you know, the more we're sort of integrating that with stretches and movements, the more you'll free up your body and prepare it for movement. Okay, so hopefully that wasn't too difficult. What am I doing for time? About 30 minutes or so, 40 minutes. Okay, getting there. So yeah, I got a couple more, and then we'll wrap it up. Like I said, not all of these things will be necessary for everyone, but they're all very useful, functional things to address for this upper half, especially if we want this chronic tension to go down. This is not necessarily tension caused by, you know, training. This is like, you know, something's really stiff and it's just not going away, and you want to sort of maybe hammer through this list, and you'll eventually pick up what you need. And they're all healthy things to do. So this next one maybe might not as much be related to everybody, but who doesn't actually have tight jaws at the end of the day. But like I said, jaw tension, TMJ dysfunction, as we all, many of us suffer from, it will kind of it will affect your neck. The neck doesn't cause it, but it can resonate down to the neck. However, usually, you know, the neck has its own set of problems, like I said, breathing, and when it comes to rotational postural issues, that will go hand in hand with the jaw. The breathing might be related to the sort of jaw issues, but sort of separately. But like I said, the breathing will be more of what causes the neck to be tight. So there is a relationship there. People with, you know, there'll always be some sort of tight jaw for some sort of chronic issues up here, more than likely. It's just how well they feed and play into each other. That's sort of case by case scenario. But nevertheless, let's do a jaw releasing exercise, because sometimes it's really good to just ease up that tension, and again, it just might reflect down throughout your chain and make your health feel a little bit better. Because especially the jaw, we carry a lot of tension here, a lot of tension, neuro chronic thought, stress related tension, especially at night and all that. So make two fists, you know, put them underneath your chin so that you have something. Oh man, my stream ended. So what we're going to do is provide a little bit of resistance, and we're going to open up against our fists And then we're going to slowly close against our fist. I even felt a little bit of a jerkiness in there. That's fine. That kind of happens sometimes. You just want to make sure you go smooth as possible. So point being is we're usually always pulling up. Let's give ourselves a little resistance to push. So we're activating opposing muscles. Then number two is we're going to slowly control. So again, those opposing muscles are working in a different way to close your mouth slowly, rather than always bringing something up, because that's what the jaw is always doing. So let's go from here and open slowly. As wide as you can, and closing is really going to be the key. That's the hard one. And what I would recommend is get yourself in front of a mirror. So I have my camera so I can see, and you watch for those deviations, because they will be there, especially if we clench to one side more than the other. And your job throughout all this is to monitor those deviations and try to really keep yourself straight. So again, going as slow as you can, and then really making sure you can open it. Let me just check. I have no idea why this stream. Facebook is the worst for streaming. Just gonna restart it. Facebook is the absolute worst for streaming. Anyway, so some things you can do there just to, again, we could release the jaw, we could definitely do that, but let's get some healthy movements and getting it open with a little bit of resistance and closing against resistance and monitoring those shifts and just really being precise. Good healthy way to smooth the jaw, and again, it could definitely maybe affect a little bit of your neck tension and so forth. And they used to kind of go hand in hand, but again, they're just different things causing problems there, which is why I'm talking through everything in this video, because there's so much that could be affecting this. Mainly because of what we have here, brains just sort of leading us into crazy, stressful lives and not taking care of ourselves, not addressing our needs, not getting that homeostasis state enough of, resting and not well and having, good circulation and all that, okay? 3 things, and then we'll be done. A stretch, a postural symmetry movement, and a functional exercise. And I think that'll be a good way to get you going, okay? This stretch is just a nice little one to add, because especially we're gonna get all this front side, which doesn't always get a good stretch. So all you're gonna do is simply look over your shoulder and try to look at your back pocket or your posterior hip. You can do this sitting down, or you can do this standing up. Let me show you standing up. Okay. Standing up, you're just going to sort of look over your shoulder as much as you can. And actually, what's good about standing up, sorry, I should have done it standing up, is you try to find your heel, see your heel, and then this is all stretching nicely. See your heel? Good. Let's go to the other side. Try to see your heel. Hold it. And all this. Nicely stretching. Yeah. Try to see your heel. Then come back to the center. Good. So there you go. That's one stretch. I know I didn't do my, I know I said I wasn't going to do my stretching, but that's a nice little one to do. Just really get this front area. And again, that's going to help a little bit with your lymphatic flushing and all that, which we wanted to do in the beginning. So everything here also sort of interconnects and helps you. So that's why it's a good little 8 or 10 things that we're doing. Last 2 things, and you've seen them before, but that's okay. We're going to do them again. The first one, as I edit this angle. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit about addressing the symmetry, postural rotational awareness. So here we're sort of connecting this lower half to the upper half. The upper half is going to be moving, breathing, expanding on one side, contracting on the other side, and then reciprocating. So we're getting healthy movements here. That's not necessarily something that happens as much in human motion, especially if we're not thinking about it because we tend to be sitting all the time. But as moving human beings, as we're walking, yes, there is a little bit of movement. It's just we don't get enough, or we're not doing it enough, and therefore we're not facilitating all these synergistic things to happen well enough. So that's what's happening here. Then meanwhile, the only thing as far as with the head that I want you to pay attention to is look forward, chin forward. Because what I want you to do is let this rotate independently of this. And then similarly, let this rotate independently of the hips. But the hips are going to be working. Take your yoga block, or take your foam roller, block, bunch of towels, whatever you call it. Okay. Squeeze it. Okay. Right there. So as you go through your rotational movements, you'll already feel some inner thigh working, one side versus the other side. So that's going to facilitate healthy pelvic rotation as we walk, which is why this one's a game changer. Upper half, you're going to go hand on the rib cage, hand reaching forward. I know it's looking familiar, okay? This is why conceptually what we want. We want to breathe in and row, pull back. That's expanding this side, so really fill it up. Exhale, reach forward. Reach forward as much as you can, rotating. Get a nice little back stretch. My inner thigh is on fire. You're gonna switch it. Hand on the ribs. Reach forward. Breathe in. Pull your elbow back. Fill that chest open. Exhale. Reach forward. Just make sure you look forward. Which I'm not doing as well because I'm looking at the camera. So I'm gonna come head on for you guys right here so you can see. Okay. Back to right here. So breathe in. Pull back. Exhale, reach forward. Keep that chin up, head and eyes forward. Switch. Breathe in, pull back. Exhale, reach forward. Very interestingly, right then, I just noticed I wasn't turned all the way. So again, this is a good one to do in front of a mirror. So that you can see that. Keep that head and nose straight and make sure it's not cheating. So as I'm coming right back to here, head and nose straight and aligned with your fingers maybe. Breathe in, pull back. Breathe out, reach forward. Switch. Keep that head forward. Breathe in, pull that elbow back. Breathe out, reach forward. Very good, very good. Ooh, good. We got some inner thighs working. We got some healthy thorax rotation, expansion, contraction, reciprocation. Very good. Arm reaching. That helps with expanding on one side and compressing on the other side. Really good for healthy human motion. The human body is just this one big back and forth swinging thing. So that's why when you think human motion, seriously, don't think forward, back. That's the worst thing. Human motion is this wonderful pattern of things going circular and intertwining with each other. Or you know, like a clock, pendular, but just imagine like multiple things going back and forth. So the more we can integrate that with stretching movements, the more you'll really feel like, yes, I feel like I'm ready to destroy my workout and make good muscle memories, because good muscle memories is what's going to translate to your life. It's not about the breakdown, fat burn and all that. That's a myth, because sometimes the right human being, that might work for them. Sometimes people don't need necessarily all that stress just yet until they happen to learn to manage the stress that's inside of the body first. And like I said, then you build on the muscle imbalances and the fat burn and all that. The final thing that I wanted to do, another little fantastic reintegration exercise, fantastic breathing exercise, fantastic for posture. But what I want to take away with this last exercise is the fact that we are actually not leading the movement with our head. Even though the head's going, obviously, naturally the first thing to move, it is virtually impossible to move in a bear crawl fashion with the head first. Whereas, what you're going to do when we move through life is we lead with our heads all the time. So I know what you think, well, hold on, if you're going to do a bear crawl, your head's going first. Yes, but to initiate all the movement, it's got to come from down here. And I'm telling you, getting up out of a chair, running, going through your tasks, how often do you watch that slow motion as that person leading with their head? And that's a very natural thing to happen. It's not necessarily wrong to happen. It's just going to stimulate a lot of chronic tension here. And it's just symbolic of usually just a little bit too on the go and too much leading with the head, not enough stopping and grounding ourselves and letting other things in our body work. So this is, again, a classic. You've done it before. And so like I said, we'll do it again. It's a bear crawl. I guess all you have to be aware of with this is we're gonna take a pace, exhale all the way, inhale all the way, move. Take a pace, exhale all the way, inhale all the way, and move. Why is that so important? It's just we're in this position again where one side is contracting, the other side is opening. So we're reciprocating those lateral movements, this rib cage, healthy movements that's supposed to be going back and forth. We're going to expand into our upper back. So we got some of that going. We're dropping our rib cage naturally. We actually have some healthy leg activation patterns going, some foot mobility going. And like I said, just look at the floor as you do this, because nothing's got to happen up here. And as you look at the floor, that's when all of this down here is going to be initiating your movement. You're not initiating anything with your neck. And meanwhile, you're actually bringing your head back. So check it out. You're going to be in this hands and knees position. I'm actually only going to go the distance of my carpet because I don't need to go any further, okay? So what you're going to do, be on your toes. Push yourself away from the floor as much as possible so that you're really locked out. You're going to raise your knees. Okay. So making sure you're looking at the floor. Take a hand space, foot space, make knee to elbow contact. Make sure you're fully locked out. From here, you're going to exhale all the way. Inhale all the way. Take a pace. Make knee to elbow contact. Push yourself away. Exhale all the way. Inhale all the way. Take a pace. Exhale all the way. Inhale. Take a pace. Exhale all the way. Feel that side crunch. Inhale all the way. Feel the other side open up. Good. We reverse it. We'll go the other way. Okay. This is again, it's not much affecting the neck, but it's going to turn on so much below. It's just going to really tune your system up. And then suddenly everything works a little bit better. We're not going to lead with our head as much. Because again, if you're leading with your head, you're kind of sort of going to be a little bit too driven, you're a little bit too holding too much tension up here. And you want to just reintegrate your system. So that's why we do these wonderful warm-up exercises, which is why you tune in to my wonderful Movement Monday sessions where I teach these concepts. Last few reps, okay? So, knee to elbow contact, take a hand space. Exhale all the way. Inhale all the way. Take a hand space. Knee to elbow contact. Exhale all the way. Inhale all the way. Take a hand space. Exhale all the way. Inhale all the way. And that's about it. That's all I'm going to do. We've done enough reps. And that's it. That's it for my session today. Thank you so much for tuning in. A lot of different concepts there that we covered, a lot of important different things. All things that you want to be aware of because, again, there's so much going on here. The keys to our problems aren't necessarily going to be just toning these muscles down and just releasing them. We have to address different things of functionality. We have to address issues with breathing, lymph, postural symmetry, rotational patterns, because like I said, this once one goes one way, the other one has to be able to go the other, and you have to be able to reciprocate healthily. A little bit of stretching, a little bit of moving throughout the range, a little bit of eyes too. Yeah, I didn't really talk much about the eyes, but look around. You got to make sure you be able to take yourself out of this tunnel vision state and be able to appreciate what's around you. And the more you be able to do that and be able to open up your visual field, again, sometimes that itself will drop a lot of neck tension. Don't look down when you walk. Make sure you look up, see around you. If you're looking down at the ground, your body's desperately trying to find the ground for support. And that's not a good thing. Sometimes, for sure, the ground is uneven, we need to look down. But in general, we don't want to be looking at the ground. We want to look up and appreciate what's around you. That's how we're going to integrate the upper system and make sure it's doing what it's needs to do. Like I said, the neck will find its true state when other things are in effect, which is a big reason why I didn't want to resort just to releasing and stretching. Hopefully that clears up a lot of things for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Tune in next week. I'll probably do something on the hip because I haven't done anything on the hip for a while. I'm just going to go check out some of the questions. Sorry for that little break in between. I really hate Facebook. I think they have super strict rules of background music, and I think they stopped my stream because there was some vocals in my music, and I really hate it, but that's all right. So I'm going to check your questions right now. That kind of exercise is for release of soft tissue. Yeah, that's not